Hello, this is Dr. Jana Bogs of Beyond Organic Consulting. This video covers how to take soil samples to send in for soil analyses so you can grow the most nutrient-rich, delicious, and healing foods possible. Before ordering a soil nutrient analysis, you will need to assess your property to determine the number of soil analyses you will need. Taking representative soil samples is critical to obtaining accurate, helpful soil analyses. Your sample is going to determine the quality of your final soil report. Sample each soil type area separately. It is often necessary to take 4 to 6 different soil samples, even from a residential property, because of the differences in soil types, soil treatments, previous crops, etc. in the various areas. Farms may need many more soil samples. Soils at different elevations on the property are nearly always different in composition. Often soil has been moved, either graded for leveling, which exposes subsoil, or brought in from an outside source, such as potting soil. Soil areas have often been fertilized or amended differently, had animal pens on them, or something else. These areas must be tested separately, as they will vary greatly in composition. You may need to make a map of your sampled areas with names and/or numbers for each section. Once you've determined how many soil analyses you need to have done, the next step is to collect soil samples. When collecting soil samples, use non-rusty, clean tools and equipment, preferably made from stainless steel or plastic. Avoid touching the sample soil cores with your bare hands. Using gloves is a good idea. You will need to sample to a depth of 6 inches. For each soil type area, take multiple soil cores around the area. A soil core is a plug of soil of even width, typically about 1 inch wide from the surface to 6 inches deep. The volume of approximately 2 cups of soil should be sufficient. Mix these together in a bucket to make a composite sample. You will need to send the volume of 2 8-ounce cups of soil per analysis. Soil sampling can be accomplished using different methods. The first method we're going to discuss is probably the most efficient way of taking a soil sample, and you will be using a soil probe, like here in the picture, or a soil auger designed for the purpose of taking soil samples. This should be made from stainless steel, so you will not contaminate the sample with rust, which is iron. Some people use a piece of stainless steel pipe, driving it into the ground with a hammer. Mark your instrument at 6 inches so you know how deep to send it into the soil. No matter what type of soil sampling method you use, you will always need to clear the surface of the spot you wish to sample of all organic matter such as grass, weeds, and leaves. Next, grab your soil probe and push and twist the probe or the auger as necessary to get it 6 inches into the ground. If the soil is hard, try getting the core soil sample out of the ground an inch or 2 at a time until you've penetrated the entire 6 inches. It may help to wet the soil, especially if you can water the area the day before attempting to take soil samples. If the soil in the probing holes is very dry and/or sandy so that it falls out of the probe before getting it into your mixing bucket, just add a little water to the hole. If the soil sticks in the probe, use a non-rusty screwdriver or similar tool to help push it out. What if the soil is too hard to penetrate with the soil probe? With very hard soils, try using a drill with a long drill bit to loosen the compacted soil core. You can use a drill that is a rechargeable type so you can reach areas where you couldn't with a cord. If the soil is extremely rocky, use a pick to loosen the soil, and then do your best to get representative cores. If you don't have a soil probe or an auger, you may want to try soil sampling method number 2. First of all, you will clear the organic matter from the surface, just as before, and then use a non-rusty shovel. Dig a hole and then take a 1-inch slice of soil from the side of the hole to a depth of 6 inches from the surface. Once you've gotten your 1-inch slab of soil on your shovel, then use a knife to cut away the soil near the edges of the shovel, leaving a 1-inch wide strip down the middle. Place this 1-inch slice into your bucket and repeat the process in several different spots until you have at least 3 cups of soil. Once you've gotten the volume of at least 2 8-ounce cups of soil into your bucket, mix the soil and remove obvious rocks and organic matter such as roots or grass. Next, use a measuring cup to measure out 16 ounces by volume. Now pour all of this soil into a plastic bag. The Ziploc bags, quart size, tend to work really well for this process. You want to have a good quality bag that won't leak, and you will want to tape it shut. And then be sure to label each sample so they do not get mixed up. If the sample is extremely wet, allow it to air dry in a place where it will not become contaminated. Here are some examples of how to label your bags. Each sample should be labeled with Dr. Jana Bogs as your consultant, your name, address, phone number, and an identifiable name and/or sample ID number. If you've taken more than one sample, make a map of your property with sample ID names and numbers as your key, so when you get your report back, you will know which report goes with which area. Multiple plots on large properties are often tracked by GPS, the Global Positioning System coordinates. When you order your soil analysis online at www.beyondorganicconsulting.com, you will be sent a soil sample worksheet from Dr. Bogs by email. The worksheet comes with instructions on how to fill it out. It's very easy to do. All you should need to put on the worksheet is your name, contact info, number of samples submitted, and the sample IDs. Include this worksheet in the shipping box with your samples that you are sending to the lab. Place the bagged samples into a plastic leak-proof container, such as a disposable food container or large plastic jar, and tape it shut. Then pack the containers in a sturdy box, not a mailing envelope. The flat rate boxes work well. The boxes themselves are free. You'll usually see them displayed at the post office reception area, or you may need to ask the clerk. Add packing paper or packing peanuts as necessary to keep the contents from shifting in the box. Write your return address and the laboratory's address on the box. That address is on the worksheet. Put the worksheet on top of the packing materials, then close and tape the box well. If you are sending soil from Hawaii, Alaska, or otherwise outside of the 48 contiguous states of the USA, you will need to put a USDA soil permit label on the front of the box. This tells the post office that the soil is going to an approved facility where it will be handled safely. A copy of the label will come on your worksheet instructions. Just cut it out and tape it securely to the front of the box on the left of the laboratory address. Now the box should be ready to send to the laboratory. The laboratory will send the raw numbers to Dr. Bogs, who will interpret them and send you the completed analysis, interpretation, and recommendations. A comprehensive Beyond Organic soil analysis is the first step to achieving the goal of growing the highest quality healing foods possible. You can order these analyses online at www.beyondorganicconsulting.com. I look forward to helping you grow the best food ever.